Well, it's the start of earnings season on Wall Street, and investors are hearing some pretty awful news. A local bank has just released its fourth quarter and year-end results for 2008. And while the results aren't pretty, there is some good news hiding behind the numbers. KSFR's Cynthia Cook.
First State Bancorp, the holding company headquartered in Albuquerque that owns First Community Bank, released its results for 2008. The company reported a loss of $124.6 million. For 2007, it had a profit of $24.8 million. Patrick Dee is the Chief Operating Officer for First State. He talks about the results.
2008 was a challenging year for a lot of banks, and we were certainly no exception to that. We did see a small amount of loan growth during the year, and we also saw a higher than normal provision for loan losses. Most of that was related to our construction portfolio, and in particular, we saw some problems coming out of our Utah market.
The loss for the year was primarily a result of an impairment charge to goodwill and to an increase in provisions for losses on loans. Dee explains how the impairment charge did not affect cash holdings and capital requirements. Part of the explanation lies in the price of the common stock, which traded at a high of almost $15 and a low of just under $1 during 2008. The company trades on the NASDAQ under the symbol FSNM.
The goodwill impairment charge really came about because of the decline in our stock price during the year. One of the major tests for goodwill relates the value of a company's stock in the marketplace to the amount of goodwill on the books. And so for that reason, again, because of the decline in the stock value, we did have to write off that goodwill. That doesn't represent any real economic substance. It's a non-cash charge, so it didn't affect our capital because goodwill is not included in capital to begin with. It looks like an awfully big number, but in effect, it really had no meaningful impact on the company.
The bank does business not only in New Mexico, but in Utah, Arizona, and Colorado. Dee discusses some of the problem areas.
There are a lot of challenges in our construction loan portfolio across our footprint, not just in Utah, but we feel like we were very proactive in managing those problems, and we increased our allowance for loan losses by about $48 million during the year. So if you look at the actual losses that we incurred, we didn't need to put that much into the allowance for loan losses just to absorb those losses. This is to prepare for future problems that we might see coming out of that loan portfolio. So we believe we're very well reserved for those potential future losses. We still remain well capitalized, which is very important to a bank.
Dee says that the bank has seen a spike in refinancing of mortgages over the past couple of months. And despite the current economic conditions, the bank is still originating loans.
The lower mortgage rates that are available right now to credit-worthy borrowers. So we have seen an increase in the refinancing activity in the last couple of months. As far as new loan activity, that has been slow but surprisingly steady. In the month of December, for example, which is typically a fairly slow month for us, we originated a little over $20 million in new loan volume in the states that we operate in.
Dee says that although First State applied for $90 million in TARP money, it probably will not take the bailout money.
We did apply for $90 million under the TARP program. At this point in time, we believe that we would prefer to not take the TARP, partly because of the uncertainty as to what the requirements of being in that plan might, or the restrictions that might place on our company, but also partly because we wouldn't want to further dilute our existing shareholders, which it in effect would do, especially with the low stock price that we have currently. We have a plan to manage our capital ratios so that we wouldn't need it to achieve the level of capital that our regulators would like for us to have.
That's Patrick Dee of First State Bancorp. For KSFR News, this is Cynthia Cook.